Where does the story start? I got a chance to grow up in the woods and some of the world's choicest sugar maple forests. That is where I feel most at ease. It's really just a magical place to wander around. There's so many levels of life in the forest. Some of it we just don't see at all. There is a whole world that is in the soil that you don't even know it's there, but it is the underpinning of the entire forest ecosystem. And for me, that really is how I came upon the discovery of what spalted wood is. It was there in the woods I'd been walking around in my whole life. I've been walking right over it. I mean, there's so many different kinds of cool wood out there, but the difference with spalted maple is that it really is its own visual thing. These crisp, thin black lines. It looks like someone drew with a calligraphy pen, crossed with a polygraph test or a seismograph. They're all over it. And it isn't one color. It can be all shades. It can be pinks and browns and grays and greens and blacks. And that's all from different types of mushrooms that invade the log. Spalted wood has been around for a really long time, probably for as long as mushrooms have been around. But it has been incredibly scarce. It's something that people found. A lot like you would find a truffle in the forest and coveting it when you find it. For hundreds of years, people have been looking for this stuff, and when they find it, then they sort of guard it and they use it for the most special projects they have. I had done a job where I found some spalted maple, and the customer just loved it and like, oh my God, we want more of it. And I was like, oh, I don't have any more. And so I did what anybody would do. I started to experiment. I started trying to figure out could I possibly make this happen? I didn't invent this, but I kind of discovered it. Spending a lot of time walking around the woods, I started to see what was going on. I started to see the interaction between wood and mushrooms. When I aged my first batch of wood, I just went in a direction I thought might work. I just crushed it over the fence. It totally worked, but I had no idea what I did. And so after I did it, I spent like the next 5 years trying to figure out what did I do. So I hired a mycologist, and together we are documenting what I have done as a citizen scientist for 10 years, figuring out what this formula is, and we finally have it. A lot of people have made comparisons to curing prosciutto or making blue cheese. And so in my case, it takes about 2 years to inoculate the logs. And once we have decided that they are just right and ready to be sawn, they go to the sawmill. Cut them into boards, and I manage the flow of the wood at the sawmill, and the good stuff goes one way and the less good stuff goes another way. From there it goes off to the veneer mill, and then from there we ship it to a hardwood plywood plant where it's made into custom plywood sheets. As far as I know from my research, Vermont Wildwoods is the only company that produces and manufactures spalted maple veneer and plywood. We're now up to about 1.2 million square feet of production, and everything I can produce is currently sold. Nordstrom's, JP Morgan Chase, Rolls-Royce, Four Seasons, Hyatt Hotels, GitHub, Amazon, and Chipotle is our biggest account. They have 2,700 restaurants, and apparently they're gonna do them all in spalted wood. I know I haven't even scratched the surface of what the national and global demand is for this stuff. And with the formula and manufacturing process that I have in place, there is no top-end limit to the volume you can produce of this material. I don't take it lightly when we cut trees. But here in the Northeast, whenever you cut a tree down, you leave an opening in the canopy, probably, 60 to 80 feet wide. And as soon as that hole has been made in the canopy and the light comes down in there, I would say on average, there are probably about 400 saplings that come up. The forest wants to keep growing here. And so, while logging is disruptive, it does not need to be destructive. Most people who are working in the woods, loggers and truckers and sawmill operators, they're doing it because they love being in the forest. But the world is changing. There's not a lot of wooden butter churns being made anymore. So it's a moment in our history that is changing. It's going away. And so every time I buy a load of logs, I feel really proud to support the folks that work in the woods. I guess I'm just proud to be part of that. As we get more high tech, we get further and further away from nature. Spalted wood is something, it's like a tangible, natural thing that it somehow connects you back to the forest. There's something about spalted wood that it just makes you feel good.